Hi, Honest Discussioner here. It's been a long time, I know. I've been busy with web designing and dating my girlfriend and doing schoolwork and actual work and keeping this relatively messy apartment clean. I'm sure most of you can understand at least one of those things. Um, so, sorry, hopefully I won't have to have another hiatus like that in a long time. But anyway, I'm ready to jump back in the saddle. I just saw Prof. MTH's response to Veritas48 on his 5 questions from for atheists video. Never did Veritas's other video, so I thought I would get in on this, especially since Prof's responses were mostly different from mine in many different ways. And I was surprised because as I'm listening to the questions, it didn't seem like ones that would lend themselves to a variety of responses, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that there's probably many different thoughtful ways to look at this. So here's mine. The first question that Veritas asks is basically, to paraphrase, if I die and I happen to get a chance to say something to God, I find out that it actually is the Christian God, all of those pesky Christians, as Veritas calls it, happen to be right, what would I say to this God? That would probably be, well, God, you know me, obviously, and you obviously understand me, so I would like to know if my best, in fact, was not good enough for you, why was my best not good enough for you? In other words, what caused my best to... Why was my best not good enough? What caused my best to not reach your expectations for what it should be? The second question is, what sort of evidence would you find sufficient in order to abandon atheism and become a believer in God? Him showing up would help. That would really, yeah. I mean, let's put it this way: if I was able to actually meet Jesus back in, if I had not even been one of the disciples, but if I had actually seen him perform all of those miracles, that might do it. I think that would be pretty sufficient. Otherwise, unless there's really no way to explain a phenomenon, it would be impossible to ever explain that. I don't really see any other way. I would honestly say, well, I believe that there is a God, because there seems to be so many better explanations to that. The number 3, do you think that the new atheism movement or new atheist movement is ultimately a good thing or a bad thing for free thinkers and skeptics? Interesting way to put that question. I'm not implying that you're loading it or anything like that. But do I think that it ultimately will be a good or a bad thing? That's a very difficult question to answer in almost anything. Will anything ultimately be a good or a bad thing? There's just far too many things to consider here. I am more so someone that believes that there's good and bad in virtually anything. My favorite line in Romeo and Juliet, maybe in fact all of Shakespeare, is when I believe the priest is discussing how even rat poison has something that's beneficial to it, and even a rose can prick you and draw blood. So I think there's negative aspects to the atheism, the new atheist movement. I think it can portray atheists in a negative light at times. It can be a little bit too brash. But in the same time, I think it is good because it lets people know that it is okay to come out of the closet. It encourages people to be more honest with themselves, to not have to hide. It has, in a way, legitimized atheism outside of purely intellectual and philosophical circles. It's made people be able to, again, come out of the closet. So in that way, I think it is going to be ultimately a good thing. Hopefully some of the more, again, brash and abrasive personalities might tone it down a little bit after a while, but beyond that, I do think that it can definitely, it has a potential for good, and a lot of it. Number 4, what sort of decisions are affected by my atheism? And I guess it would be that when I'm going to make a decision, I think I'm able to look at it more objectively. I can see whether something is right or wrong, rather than just referring to something else and seeing if it says it is right or wrong. I'm able to basically use my own thoughts and ideas to figure it out for myself. And I think that's a kind of a better way to go about it, because let's just put it this way. There are certain things that before, when I was a Christian, I would say are wrong to do. And I actually think now that saying they're wrong is wrong and harmful. I believe there are a certain number of rules within many religions, Christianity one of them, that holding to these rules would be a bad thing overall. So I think how does my atheism affect my decisions? It allows me to actually make them instead of having them be made for me. No, and the last one, what is more important, gaining true beliefs about the world or not gaining false beliefs about the world? Now, Prof said that they're both the same thing. I'm going to have to disagree with him on this. I would have to say that avoiding false beliefs are far more important than gaining true beliefs. I mean, if you look at science, for example, their main thing is discounting ideas rather than necessarily proving something right. It's more so crossing out all of the other options first. I'm generalizing, I know, but if you look at it at war, think of it this way: you have two cities to defend. What's going to be more harmful? Not knowing when or where your enemy is going to attack, or knowing when your enemy is going to attack and when, but that actually being wrong. In the former, you have to divide your resources among various areas, and wherever they do attack, you have a good chance that you'll at least be partially prepared, whereas in the latter, you're going to get wiped out because you're going to have all of your forces in one area, and then the other city is going to get completely destroyed. I think that bad information is usually the cause of the majority of our ills as a society. So I would have to argue that that is more important. I hope you enjoyed this response, Veritas, and I really do hope I get to make another video soon. I'm going to warn everyone, I'm noticing a lot of discussion on free will, and none of them seem to have my videos in the titles at all. So I know I get made fun of for talking about free will a lot, but I think this is showing I'm not talking about it enough. So I am going to have to make another video on this, because people are now bringing it up again. So this isn't me instigating it this time. It's everyone else. You can blame everyone else on this one. All right. Have a nice day. Honest Discussioner, out.